Good afternoon. Welcome to this training session on the applications for the EIC Accelerator through the SEP system on the internal European Commission tool. We will go through a number of presentations today. I will briefly share with you the agenda, which you can see on the screen now. My name is Robert Schroeder. I'm the head of the external communications team at EISMEA. I will host this session this afternoon, but here you can see the agenda. We will start with an introduction by Keith Sekira, who's the head of unit for the European Innovation Council at DG Research and Innovation. We will then continue with a short introduction on operational measures by Stefan Waki, who is the head of department for the European Innovation Council at EISMEA, and then we'll go through the introduction on SEP on the real application. So there will be presentations by Andreas Constantinides and Pierre Roubaud from EISMEA, and then there is time for a Q&A. Before we start with the introduction by Keith Sekira, a few housekeeping rules for today. In the first place, for your information, this session is being recorded. You have seen this already in the registration for this session today. The session will be also made public afterwards on the EIC website. We ask you please to keep your microphones muted during the session. And for your information, there will of course be an opportunity for questions. Please limit these strictly to the application process. And we are using a Slido for the questions, so there is no chat, and we will only go through questions that come in through Slido. So we will not do any oral questions. The Slido code you can see here on the screen right now. So please use this to put your questions. If we are not able to answer all the questions during this session, we will of course collect these questions and then we will answer them as far as we can, perhaps grouped on the FAQ that is also on the EIC website. So shortly after the meeting, we'll try to compile all the questions and ensure that the FAQs on the EIC website will be updated accordingly. So after this short introduction, I'll pass the floor to Keith Sekira, who will start this training session. Keith, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Robert, and good afternoon to everybody. For those of you who are EIC national contact points, this is the second training session following the switch to the new application forms that took place on the 2nd of June. And we held a first workshop just for national contact points approximately this time last week. What we thought was useful for this time is to expand the participation. I see we have a very high number of participants. So we've invited members from the Enterprise Europe Network, as well as opening it up to other interested parties. So we hope it's useful. As Robert said, the idea is to have very practical training. We are aware that there's a quite significant change in the application forms. We're also aware that the timing of this change was not the ideal timing. We would have liked to have done it after a cutoff. What we have done is therefore to extend the deadline of the cutoff, and for those of you not aware, we now have set a deadline of 5 o'clock. This is Brussels time on the 21st of June as the cutoff to allow applicants that were planning to submit for the 7th of June an additional 2 weeks to make these changes. So maybe a final part of context before moving into the practical presentations and Q&A. We have been looking for some time at the application process for the EIC Accelerator. And one of the pieces of work of the EIC board was indeed to look at this and to provide a set of recommendations that I believe were published in March, April. What we've tried to do in the new forms is to integrate at least some of the core elements of the advice from the EIC board, in particular in terms of having shorter applications and applications that follow more closely the industry standards for business cases, with the idea that for applicant companies, this information can therefore be reusable for other purposes. But I did also want to state that for us, this is not the end of the story. We will be looking at making further improvements. We will be looking to, in particular, the national contact points to provide us feedback. We've made a number of improvements already in the forms, but following the cutoff, we will be looking at how we can make further improvements, both in the forms and for the overall application process as it is set out in the EIC work programme. So many thanks for so many of you attending this workshop, and I'll pass now back to Robert to start the main parts of the agenda. Robert.
Thanks very much, Keith. And before we continue with Stefan Waki, maybe just a comment. We already see quite a few questions coming in through the Slido. I would perhaps ask you to hold on with your questions until after the presentation, because perhaps quite a few of the questions that are being put forward now will be explained already in the process. So it will make it easier for us to make sure we address the questions that you may still have afterwards. With that, I'll pass to Stefan Waki for his short introduction. Stefan?
Yes, good afternoon to all, and thank you for being there in quite numbers in this training in order to help the process of applying into SEP for potential EIC Accelerator applicants. So we hope that after this session you will have most of your questions answered and the process will appear as seamless as it can be, even in those, I would say, quite special circumstances. So I wanted to highlight that, of course, we have taken a number of measures since the switch on the 2nd of June in order to make this process as least traumatic as possible towards the applicants. We highlighted in particular in the communication we have provided that, of course, those who were in the process or working on the step 2 applications, we had to go now to the SEP portal, and to that effect, all of them received an email explaining the new situation and the new process of application, and in particular giving them access to the links to the different calls on which they can now lodge and start working on their application. This process has been also extended to those that had already completed an application under the former platform, and that unfortunately we need to maintain, of course, the quality of treatment there, and those applicants will also have to then fill in their application under the SEP portal, and that is, of course, unavoidable if we want to be able to judge those applications according to the same template and the same format. And then, of course, a few days thereafter, we have provided to those that were in the process of preparing the Step 2 application all the data that they had submitted that we managed to recover. And this data has been rendered back to the various applicants. Some of them we know have started various different applications that may not have been with no intention to actually complete it, but some of them were very close to complete it since we were 5 days away from the cutoff date. And therefore, we believe that that process has been concluded successfully last week, and therefore all of them have been actually submitted. So that with now the information that will be given today on how to apply concretely under SEP should equip the various applicants and their helpers to proceed, and we hope successfully towards the 21st of June, 5 o'clock cutoff. Another point that has been, of course, highlighted is, as you know, we established a moratorium on Step 1 application for the moment, and that has been unavoidable given the suddenness of the switch to SEP that operated on the 2nd of June, that was operational on the 2nd of June. And we expect this moratorium to last until the first days of July. The way this will proceed after that is that you will have access to a tool that will be made available after the first days of July, to which you would be able to lodge your application under step 1. This tool will allow, this application platform will allow you to then move exactly with the same functionalities as it was the case before to handle step 1, with a view, of course, to for those of them that are going through this process, get the necessary feedback, the support with potential coaching, and of course to be in a position to then move to a step 2 application as soon as it is possible once a go has been received. So we are now working on this platform in order to make sure that it will be available at the beginning of July. So in the meantime, of course, we have contacted by email all those that were in the process of preparing the step 1 application in order to inform them of these developments, and of course to give them a number of elements of guidance in view of the putting or the operationalization of this tool at the beginning of July. Now, of course, going forward, I would say more on the medium term towards the October cutoff, we are, of course, in the meantime, reflecting how the system will look like and try again to provide a more integrated formula in order to be able to use the functionalities of SEP as best as possible in view of the October cutoff. And then, of course, we will be in touch with the relevant information as soon as we have put those other functionalities in place that we hope will be available soon during the summer. So that's what I wanted to tell you as an introduction on the operational measure that we have already taken in order to facilitate the switch that we understand is, I would say, not a very pleasant situation to be in when you are in the middle of preparing an application and suddenly you face this disruptive element. But be assured that we are taking all the necessary measures also through our help desks that are available in order to cover all your questions and make sure that whatever issues or problem you have, they are being addressed in real time as quickly as possible in order to make sure that your issues are being dealt with. And I can already tell you that many improvements have been already made in the different forms, for example, that have taken into account those comments and reflection that came through the different help desk. So that's what I wanted to say now, Robert, as an introduction, and I think we can move maybe straight into the description on how to apply into SEP from the various colleagues.
Yes, thank you very much, Stefan, for these clarifications. Before we move to Andreas for his presentation, just to let you know that indeed more and more questions are coming in, and we're already trying to group them. Also, we will start now slowly to put them on the screen so you can like them, so you don't have to ask the same questions again. But with that, I ask Andreas to now take the floor for his presentation.
Thank you, Robert. Hello, everyone. I'm going to navigate you quickly through the new submission platform. At the same time, I'm going to provide you as much information as possible, mostly to clarify already many questions that we are receiving in the support. And I will move quickly to my. Sorry, I'm sharing my screen. I will start with the communication that was sent the 2nd of June, Friday, to all the applicants that were eligible to submit a full proposal. Please confirm if you are seeing my screen now.
Yes, we
Yes, Andreas, we can see.
Good, thank you. So this email that you see in your screen now was sent to almost 2,500 applicants, comprising of 1,000 applicants, successful step 1 companies, and another 1,500 companies that had submitted at least once a full proposal and they have at least a second chance to submit a full proposal. I'm highlighting this because there is a lot of confusion with the applicants that are trying to access the submission platform through the funding and tender portal. So I'm now switching to my funding and tender portal to show you what they are experiencing, the applicants. So I hope you see now my screen. Not yet, but now you should. So here you can see in front of you the main topics of the EIC Accelerator, and the applicants, of course, they tend to click on the topics and hit the button Start Submission, which unfortunately brings them to this important message where we are explaining the disruption of the service. Please, I'm talking to the NCPs now. Whenever you talk to your applicants, you will have to make it clear they will have to access this email that was sent, as I said, the 2nd of June, Friday, to all the CEOs or the drafter of the proposals, with those links that will guide them, or that will guide them to the SEP submission platform, where I am currently moving as well, and I will start immediately my presentation to SEP. Voila. And here I am. So this is the page that the applicants are landing once they click any of the 7 challenges or the open topic. As you can see here, the first thing the applicant need to do is to select the pick of their company, either type it here if they know, if not, they can simply search it. And search. Voila. So I can use this pick, for instance. On the left of the screen, you can also see the place where the applicants can download the templates. If I click on it, I will download the template, and if I open, I will see that it includes 3 main files: the proposal template, the financial information template, an additional Excel file where the applicant needs to provide us the consent, and also put some additional data concerning the type of funding, the amount of funding, and so on. Those files will be presented, those templates will be presented later by my colleague Pierre Roubaud. So I'm starting my application already. I'm picking my pick. The system automatically will highlight me the creator of this pick as the main contact of the application. And there, of course, I will quickly put EIC, the acronym of my proposal, test. And I will go to the next step. Here, it prompts me that the organization will be notified about the new submission. Voila. And I continue with this proposal. I can see that my company has been selected and my name has been put as the main contact of the proposal. Here I can add some more contacts if I would like. So I will add a second person in this case. I can only have one main contact. In this case, it's myself. So I will now add a second contact person that will also be a coordinator. That means that this second person will also have access and we can share the drafting of this proposal. So I can put a random name here. Voila.
Hi.
This email will be notified about this new proposal and the inclusion of this member in this proposal. So I'm now saving and going to the next step where I will access the administrative part A, but also the placeholders where the applicant is requested to upload the series of documents that are required. I'm starting with part A, the administrative forms. I will land in the table of contents. You see I have 5 sections to fill in, and I will move quickly to the first one, that is the general information of the proposal. The system will automatically bring the acronym. Here I will have to put the title, proposal, the duration of the project. I'm putting 24 months, some free keywords, engineering, information technology. And here is the moment that I will have to add the fixed keywords of my proposal. Add descriptor, innovation. This is a standard taxonomy that the applicant will have to follow level by level. The main level is innovation. Second level is a series of 15 main categories. In my case, I will use the engineering technology. Let's say this one, done. The applicants are required to choose 3 keywords. So I'm choosing the second keyword now, again, innovation. I'm using one from the ICT, let's say computer graphics, done. Sorry, I think I did something wrong. And the third one, let's say electronics photonics. Nice. So I have added my 3 keywords. This is the place that I have to expand my abstract of the proposal. This is the abstract. Well, here the applicants are required to put any similar projects they may have submitted in the last 2 years. If it is the case, they will also have to put the proposal number of the previous instance. I'm putting something here and I add it. And this first section closes with a series of declarations that the applicant will have to check all of them before they save and move to the next section. As you can see, if I forget some of them and I save my form, you see that the system already highlights that I need to do an action here. That is to check also the last box that I forgot. Voila. And I save it. The next section is participant and contacts. I can click here directly, show participant details. The system will now project some more details of the company as they will have been extracted by the portal, the place where I have registered the pic of the company. And now it's the moment that I will need to add the specific department that will be working with the specific proposal, if there is one, or in that case that the company does not include several departments, I click not applicable. Here I will put that it is project management department, for instance, and I will put that it also located in the same address as the main company. Here I will have to add some additional info for the main contact, myself. So Mr. The gender, I'm putting here also my position. I'm the CEO, and I'm putting that I am located in the organization's address, website, and my phone number. Well, here I also see the second contact person that I have declared in the beginning of my application, where I can also put the phone number. Finally, a little bit more administrative work. If there are any researchers involved in the proposals, I can put their details here. As you can see, the standard researcher details are required. And here I will have to select a few roles of this department concerning the specific project. For instance, that it will do the project management, it will technology developer, education and training, and others. Well, I will have to be a little bit more specific. Finally, the applicant can list up to 5 publications, up to 5 most relevant previous projects or activities, and any significant infrastructure equipment relevant to the proposed work. These are not mandatory, of course, but it is recommended for them to fill in as much information as possible. The section closes with a gender equality plan. There, the applicant has to declare if the organization have a gender equality plan, and of course, more information will be required to be put embedded within the proposal template in part B, where there are specific questions covering this section. I will put yes in this case. I will save my form again. The system checks and validates in case something is missing, something is wrong, it will highlight automatically. And at any moment, of course, I can click this validate form to make sure. I'm returning back to the table of contents to go to the third section, that is the budget. Now, here we have to clarify, of course, that much more detailed financial information are included in the template I was showing previously, where the applicant will be able to download from the templates. There, the applicants will really have the opportunity to be much more detailed in the financial information. Here, the budget table concerns only the grant part of the proposal. And of course, the figures that will be input in the financial information will have to correspond here as well. So I will put some values for the sake of the demonstration. Let's put here, for instance, voila. So as you can see, total eligible cost is 3.9 million, 70% the funding rate. This is the maximum EU contribution that the system proposes. Of course, the applicant here will have to type in the final amount that it is requested by the EU. So let's say that we will put this amount here. Okay. Now, on the right side of the budget table, you can see 3 columns that are related mostly to the income of the company and of this project income. So we have been instructed that normally if we consider a line here on the left side, we have the cost of the projects. On the right side, we have the revenues of the project. So normally the applicant should try to balance those two amounts. What do we mean exactly? The project concerning the innovation activities will cost 3.9 million euros. EU will contribute with 2.5 millions. The applicant will have to demonstrate that they are in position to cover the rest 1.4 million, either by income generated by this specific action, financial contributions, where here we may think that if the applicant is applying for blended finance, meaning that will also apply for equity, could use part of the equity to cover innovation activities. It would be the right place to put the amount that they are planning to cover here. And finally, its own resources, if of course there are amounts of the company to be provided to cover the innovation activities of the project, of the specific project. So normally here, as I said, we are having something like 1.4 million to cover. We could say that if 1 million here and the rest 500,000 by own resources. So normally this total estimated income should correspond to this total eligible cost. Now I'm saving it again and I'm moving to the next section. The ethics and security section is the place where the applicants will have to declare if there are any ethics or security related issues. In case of a yes, the applicant will have to spot the page that they will provide more information in the proposal template. I am putting here, for instance, page 15. We'll have to provide some details about the ethics. And in the end, they will also have to click here and submit the form. By default, as you can see, all the questions are flagged as no. The applicant will shift it to yes only if there is an issue in this particular element. I'm saving it. And the last part of the administrative force are the other questions. Here, the applicant will have to select the funding type of the proposal. Grant only, grant first, blended finance, we will say in our case. Here they will have to define the amount of investment they are requesting. I will now put 2.5 million. And the gender of the CEO, we have put myself, so I'm putting one. Save the form, and then I will validate to see if we have forgotten something. Validate form. Okay, there are no validations errors, meaning that the part A is considered to be complete and validated. Normally at this stage, I will have to exit the form. Okay. And it's the moment that I will the applicant will have to upload all the documents that are required for the submission to be considered complete. As you can see, it comprises of the part B, the main proposal template. By clicking here, they're getting some more information. Compared to the previous week, we have removed the page limit of the 50 pages. However, it is highly recommended to remain in this limit. This is to tackle some questions concerning the rebuttal comments that the applicants are requested to include in the same proposal, but also the fact that there are applicants that will submit under a challenge or open. So in order to tackle the additional requirements for the challenges, to have a little bit of flexibility. Again, it should be considered as a target for the applicants to stay as much as possible within this page limit of 50 pages. However, they are still allowed to exceed by a couple of pages just to be able to tackle all the elements they would like to. Now, apart from the part B, the usual documents that were also required in the previous platform, such as the data management plan, the freedom to operate, the pitch deck that will be used later should the applicant be successful at the remote stage, the financial information that will soon be demonstrated by my colleague, possible letters of intent. Here it is required for the applicants to merge them in one PDF document, additional documentation in case there is something that they haven't managed to tackle from the previous documents, CVs of key personnel. These are the CVs of the team members of the proposal. And finally, the mandatory data and consent is one of the 3 templates that the applicants will have to download and fill in. I think I have covered this part. Probably we could later on open some of the files if it is possible, if we still have some time. I would prefer now to pass the floor to my colleague, Pierre Bo, to continue with the part B and the financial information. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andreas. Before moving straight to Pierre, maybe just one comment. So quite a few questions are coming in. I would suggest everybody who would like to pose further questions to have a look at the Slido already. There you can see many of the questions that we have already selected. And if you go through those and like the ones that are very similar or exactly like your question, we can be more targeted in answering your questions. Of course, if there is additional questions that you do not see covered or partly covered, you can still put them in, but I would strongly suggest that you have a look through the already mentioned questions and see if that covers your request. With that, Pierre, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Robert. So I will share my screen. Where is it to share the screen? Is it the 3 dots? Yes, huh? No?
There is a button, Pierre.
Next to the 3 dots.
Next to the 3 dots, left
share.
to the 3 dots. Share. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So yes, as Kees was saying, so we have based our approach on the recommendation by the EIC board members. We took most of the recommendation except one, that was to extensively test the things before going into practice. So we are very sorry about that. I mean, the timing was imposed on us and it's not our choice. So basically what we try to do is no radical change from the design module of the EIC platform, so that the people who have already spend time to apply and consider resources, they can easily adapt to the new template. So it's normally most information should be there already. So we try to simplify. We try to make it more user friendly. We try to get closer to the industry standards. helping also the applicants to later on interface with maybe potential co-investor that they would like to bring in, and we try to structure it a bit more. So you have a first document of Form B, as Andreas was showing, the financial annexes and the budget, the mandatory data and consent, the pitch deck. The pitch deck, yeah, it's not limited, but it is supposed to be used for the jury interview. So it's something that you should be able to demonstrate in 10 minutes. The freedom to operate analysis, the data management plan, CVs of key people, very important, and the letter of intent. So on the structure of the Form B, this is the structure. So you have a first part that is the business case, so corresponding to the industry standards, where you basically have the problem, the solution, you have the market analysis, the marketing and the sales plan, the team and the management, the risk, the financial plan, and then we are a bit more specific. We call that ESG specific information because in the implementation plan we are a bit more detailed that's what you would find in the market, because we are preparing the grounds for the one who will be succeeding. This is the format basically that will be used for the contract for the implementing part of the grant. We ask you, or with the EU support, you go to the next funding round. We'll ask you your funding request. We also want to have some information on the broad impact, and this is going further than the pure economic business aspect of the proposal, but also looking at the impact on society, the impact on environment, on climate, on new sustainable development goals, and also important to all the important EU policy like the CHIPS Act, the Quantum, the Green Deal. It's also important aspect. So you can see there is a relationship between the items of the part B and the evaluation criteria. So there, that was a constraint we had. So we are using exactly the same evaluation criteria that are in the work program. So no change in that for 2023. So the company description, for example, it is related to the ability that you will have to, that you will demonstrate that you will be able to scale up your project at a later stage. I think I leave it to that, and I go directly to the formal template. So the templates, yes. So for this call, that's one of the changes since last week. It's no longer a page limit, but rather a recommendation to go to 50 pages.
Pierre, sorry to disturb. We cannot yet see this new part, the screen, so we still see the slide on your presentation.
Okay. I'm lost in my screen. Sorry for that.
Pierre, perhaps you can stop sharing and then pull up the right screen
Yeah.
and start sharing again.
Okay, thanks. Stop sharing, it's done. Okay. Okay. Thanks, Robert. I think you should see now the Form B.
It's uploading. Yes, there we are. Thank you.
Okay, so you start with the structure of the proposal. As we said, one of the first change, 7th of July, regarding the limit of pages, that we are now putting a recommendation instead of a fixed formal limit where the text would be blurred after the 50 pages. So the structure of the template, I just showed that 5 minutes ago. Now, yes, it's still the same format that is used for, it's part of a corporate tool, so you still have a coordinator. We know it's a single applicant, but still it can be that there are affiliated entities that are part of the proposal. You need to select which topic you apply for. In case of resubmission, there is still the possibility to include, explain the change compared to the previous version or the rebuttal. We have an executive summary, and those are the questions for the business case. Yeah, I have to say, if you look at the logic of a business, it would be more logical to explain the problem and the solution, but we have decided to start with the company description because we had a discussion at a certain stage with the EIC fund colleagues, and it seems that the company is very important as an entity for the investment decision later on. So we want to focus on that there. We don't want to now create BAs towards more established entities. We are program financing high-risk innovation, so startups and your companies. But if you are in that case, try to describe the company mission, the company vision, to kind of giving perspective to the evaluators. So there's also describing where the company is in the market, what key partners you have. It could be a lead customer or other kind of partners. If you are in the field of health, partners for clinical trials would make a difference. Describing the key assets of the companies, if you have production facilities, if you have laboratories, and some of your clients or some of your suppliers that are important in your business. So all elements to give a bit of context on who is the company. And then after the company, so it's the description of the problem and the solution. So typical value proposition. So first, maybe the problem on a generic terms, like for example, well, batteries of a car, you cannot load that in less than 5 minutes. The unsatisfied need of your potential customers, and then you can start talking about all car builders, all the ones that are having refilling station, and describe how your solution would address the issue. What would be the size of the addressable market? And then the next section is basically, it's the solution. So there, it is the biggest section in the whole proposal. There, it's really important to explain the solution in simple terms, but also to convince all your readers that this is a breakthrough innovation, that it is better than the existing solution, that the time is ripe for going to the market. that it has been developed in a safe, secure, and reliable manner, that has been validated or certified. So there, if you have examples of proof of concept with important customer, explain what has been done in practice to implement your solution for your customers. If you are in the health sector, explain if you have started to do some clinical trials where you are. Also demonstrate that regarding intellectual property, you have a strategy. So maybe you don't have everything protected by IP, but you are combining IP with company secrets. So what is the approach? And of course, there explain that you have freedom to operate, and don't forget to annex there the supporting document on the freedom to operate. So that was the problem and the solution. So the next big section is the market and the commercial strategy. So what would be the market? What is the market segment? What's the size of the market? What would be the addressable market? Who are, if there are customers, will they be willing to pay the price that you have in mind for your innovation? Or competitive is your solution compared to potential competitors? What are limitations of competitors compared to your proposal? Then SWOT analysis on the market and the competition. And then the section 5 is on your marketing and sales plan. So what's your business model? Do you sell a product? Do you also have a service? Do you want to have a relationship with your customer where you are serving them in the long term with adapting your product to their need? Or is this just licensing that you want to do? What could be the customer? What would be the channel to bring your innovation to the customer? How easy is it to scale it up? Or do you start tackling the geographical markets? What are the most important? Or do you phase that in? Are there barriers preventing the access to the market? What would be your marketing approach, the pricing policies? If you have already some agreement with potential customers, you have a letter of intent, include them. So this is about basically all the approach towards the market. Then we move to the team. So yeah, investors, they invest in a team. So it's at least as important as your project. So there, spend a bit of time to describe the key members of the team, their skills and experience. The gender balance is also important. And if you are aware that there are missing skills at the stage of your development in your companies, and you have plans to recruit other persons with these skills, describe it there. At the governance level, who is advising the project? Who are members of your board of directors? Do you have important consultants or advisors? What's their role in the project? And also giving some information on the longer term. How do you make sure that you secure the involvement in the long term of your employees? So do you have a stock ownership plan for your employees and for your non-funding members? So that was about a team. Then a section about the risk. So what are the financial risks? What are the risks linked to the technology, to the market, to the competition, maybe some regulatory risks? What are the likelihoods? What are the effects? And what are the mitigation methods? Then the next section is on the financial plan. Yeah, there 2 pages probably a bit short. That's why you have also the template in annex that I will come to in a minute. But this is a place where you could explain important things on your financial plans. Then the next section is the implementation plan. So there we are in the EIC specific information. So this is the format that we use in the tool for monitoring the grants. So with first a list of your working package for the grant component of the application, then an equivalent list for the investment components, activities in the program, and then for each of the for each of the work package, sorry, the objectives, description of the work, and yeah, there are also some details about categorization of document, dissemination level. There, I think I don't need to get into the whole detail there, and we can come back on that if you have questions. Yeah, important thing there, we have introduced a section on how the EU support takes the company to the next value point. So there, as you know, we want to be there for you, not only for a short period of time, but also for scaling up your companies in the longer term. So we want to be the bridge to the next investor. So there, it's the place for you to discuss what are your plans after that. If you want to have to start discussion with private investors, if you would prefer to go for an IPO, or if you have maybe family investors that are able to help you later on, and you go for a grant only project, that's the place to explain how you intend to do when we come to the end of the grant. Are there financial issues that could compromise the ability of a project partner to exploit the innovation? Then the funding requests, well, explain and describe what kind of funding request you want, if you have a grant only, grant first, or blended. Then the section on broad impact, so that's the societal, economic, environment, or climate impact. That's the potential impact on job creation in the next 5 years. Also your proposal, how it contributes to the UN Sustainable Development Goals. And there, yeah, if in one page you could also describe there the impact on your project would have on important EU policy. And then you have the annexes. I already talked about that. So yes, in addition to what I said, there is also a potential for any additional information you find interesting, important to add to your proposal. You could do that there. Okay. That was it for the Form B. So I will stop sharing and go to the Excel file. Yeah, I forgot at the beginning. I wanted to apologize to all women in the audience, because normally it was my colleague Christina to deliver the presentation. So we're putting you only men in a row, which is not good. So, but yeah, Christina asked me to replace her, so I do that with pleasure. So what we have done there, compared to to a week ago, yes, it's also the reference I was making to the fact that we did not use or test fully the templates. Sorry for that. So now we have tried to clarify and limit the potential mistakes in filling the form. So we have specified in yellow the places to where to fill data, and in blue where we have calculated fields. So that you can see directly when you open one of the worksheets where it is to encode data.
Yeah, Pierre, sorry to intervene again. We cannot see your screen at the moment.
Okay, I'm not good at that. Huh? I do share. Okay.
Yes, we
You
can
see
see
it? Okay,
Thank
so
you.
that was the first worksheet with the instructions. So
We see, I'm not sure if we see the correct screen, Pierre. We see a folder.
I think you have to share your Excel application, Pierre.
I was on my Excel. And now?
Second. Yes, I think this is the correct one. Thank you.
Okay, great. Sorry for that. So yes, you see, so this is the first worksheet with the instructions. So basically the two colors I just mentioned. Also an explanation that the next worksheet on the budget grant is about your project, but then the financial information worksheet later on will be on your company. Important to clarify. So maybe we start with the budget grant. So this is something Andreas already showed to you. So there you have 6 rows for 6 working packages. So if needed to be, you could add rows and then copy paste the formulas in the blue area. So this is basically where you describe the cost following the cost categorization used by the research framework program. So nothing new in that. We have made the calculations. Just one specific things for the blended project. In exceptional circumstances, you could request more than 2.5 million of grant. So there you would need to explain the exceptional circumstances in these big boxes here. And then all the calculations are done by formula. Again, yeah, the worksheets are not protected. So basically, you take the responsibility for all the figures A to Z. We didn't want to secure and protect the file because we were a bit afraid of the difficulties to unprotect in specific cases. So that's the choice we have made. So here you have the financial information worksheet. So this is the main worksheet for the applicants to support their financial requests. So we have at the top some financial highlights like your market share, the number of units you expect to sell in the year N2, N+5, the revenue and the EBITDA that is calculated from the cells below, the capex expenditures. Then you have a number of files on your profit and loss, your cash flow, your balance sheet, business metrics, financial data, and on liquidity, your financial history, the current funding round, and then some financial viability check. So that's for this table on financial viability check that we have added the column C and D that are a bit more specific. So this is year -2 and year -1, where we are asking less information. So we don't ask all the cells that are in gray. That means that also that some of the intermediary total, because we don't have the details in gray, we don't have calculated fields. So it would be for the applicants then to fill the data there, but at least they can see the formula in the cell site if they want to use it. So basically, these are the revenue that you expect year end to N+5. The related gross margin. So yeah, we didn't put the lines for the cost of goods sold, but yeah, we have the revenue and the gross margin. Then the general and selling and general administration expenditure, the R&D expenditure, other operationals. I mean, the rest, I don't think I need to explain to you all the details. Yeah, we have added the depreciation line because it was not there in the version of last week, and we thought it's clear to have it there. In the row 25, you have there the revenue coming from the grant, so you can show specifically where you expect to have the grant. So the earning before tax, the tax, and the net operating profit after tax. The cash flow data there with this row 38, the cash flow from financing activities, the proceeds from the issuance of equity. So this is basically the row where you will justify the equity that you will request in the other worksheet. So if I go to the other worksheet, basically it is this column. So in the row, in the column E, the row 21 to 28, this is where you describe the equity needed. So in the form that is now published, there is a mistake we need to correct because there the figures in the column in the cell C22 to C27. That's all you need basically for your equity because the cost of your working packages related to the investment. So basically, the one corresponding to activities for TRL after 8. The costs that are described here, they are also included in this row. So to avoid double counting, the sum of the investment needed, the C is equal to B there. So that's something we are correcting now. For blended also, like for the grants, you could ask for more than 2.5 million of grant. You could also ask for more than 15 million of investment. In this case, also there is a space to describe there. In addition, you have another space for the amount and the origin of the investment. While there, so I'm coming back to the financial information sheet. So yeah, it's balance sheet data. So with the sum on the top that is calculated and the forms and the cells in yellow for the applicants to fill in their data. Then all the fields here are calculated and I think I think I'll leave it to that. Yes, maybe one or two more points for the people who had worked on the template of the week before. So one of the things we have changed here in last week, we had put the all the element of cost in positive, and we had used minus in the calculation of the formulas. But with this presentation, the grant figures, the grant received was to be shown as a negative figure. So we had a request from some of the persons who participated to the presentation last week to do the opposite. So now we have in the calculation of the sum, we are using positive signs. So that means that the figures there should be negative. There is also one mistake in the template that is currently in the tool, is that there was still a data validation preventing to put negative figures in the cash flow. So that we will correct in the new version after the meeting this afternoon. And I think I leave it to that, Robert. I can now go to questions. I stop presenting.
Thank you, Pierre. Thank you for the presentations and running all the participants through. We will now share the Slido screen. So we have quite a number of questions already. Apologies. We will start with the ones that have been also liked by others. So we have the most popular questions, so to say, at top. I would ask that Pierre, Andreas, and Stefan will take these questions according to the ones that are relevant for them to be answered. So we'll start with the top one, and after answering these will disappear and more questions will follow. As you can see, for the moment we have around 55 questions now already selected, so I think we should go through them quite quickly. For those questions that are not included in this list, or in case we will not be able to go through all of the questions, your questions are not forgotten. We have saved them all, and we will, if not covered today, make sure that we update the frequently asked questions. Maybe one last point of clarification: we are only trying to look at questions here that directly deal with the application forms now on the SEP. So with regard to differences in the new application forms. Okay, with having gone through that, I would like to let's start with the first question here, and I'm not sure if it's Stefan who will take this first question.
I can take if you like.
Or if you can, please go ahead.
Because I'm the one trying to adapt to and do the correction. So we didn't have the validation, the calculation last week. So we have put this calculation. Yeah, we've made mistakes into that. Yeah, it's not the ideal. It's a try and error. We will have another version after the session today, and I cross the fingers it's the last one. As I said, now applicants can also add lines and take corrections, and at the end they take responsibility for the figures. So the service that we are providing with the template, I think we are there at 95% more or less now.
Please go ahead and move to the next question, when one is finished.
Yes. So there, yes, we have chosen a different method that the one was used before, because we thought this method was more correct. The previous method were taking only the exploitation costs of the first 3 years, but then for companies who were more advanced in their process to market, but were also have having revenues in the first 3 years, it was not taking the revenues into account. So it was not financially correct to take only the exploitation cost and say that you need equity to cover your exploitation cost of the first 3 years. So that's the reason why we have changed the methodology there. The executive summary.
Sorry, can I maybe just apologies. Just
yes,
one, thanks a lot, Pierre. Just one element, completely agree with what you said. Just maybe one element that you did not address in the previous question. Also, the 30%. Correct me if I'm wrong, Pierre, but the 30% co-financing for the grant part, we don't add that anymore to the equity request, because that is not something that normally should be covered in the future, at least by the equity investment. This is something where the central services have made us aware that this is something that should normally come for the company. Of course, this is a bit of an artificial division because the equity is invested in the company and money is fungible, but we have been asked to not explicitly include the 30% co-financing in the equity request. Is that correct, Pierre?
Thank you, Cornelius. Yes,
Okay.
it is correct, and you can see in the worksheet on the budget grants, we have in the row 30, so the cell K30, it's the amount of 30% remaining that is supposed to be co-financed by the project. Basically, the project should have 30% of co-financing at this stage. And also there is a bit of a time difference that we try to shorten as much as possible between the moment when we are ready with the grant and the moment where we come with the investment. So in that period, the applicant should have the 30%, should have the financing for the 30% to cover the 30% of the cost. So if we confirm that the executive summary of 2 pages, no, it is not public. It is the abstract that you have seen that is public. The executive summary is for the evaluators, so it's only for us. The next question.
And I also on this, just one thing which probably is self-understood for many, but also just to be clear that in any case, nothing is public on the applications. The only thing that becomes at some point public is for projects that are granted. So here at the application stage, nothing is public. Just...
Now the stage 1 application questions. This is being discussed now. I mean, Stefan's informed you there is a moratorium until early July where we are ready with the new proposal. It's the same discussion. So we want that the applicants who have started to work on the stage 1 application can use what they have done for the new version, but at the same time, we also want to streamline and simplify in the same spirit as we have done for the phase 2. I think I cannot say more at this stage. And now, in the financial annex, the budget investment tab, the cell E30. Yes, so that's it's correct. I just explained that when I was presenting the sheet. So we don't double count. So it's only the cell E30 is equal to the cell E28, and basically the cost of the working packages for the investment are included already in the equity financing needed that are coming from the financial information worksheet. So C equal B, it's right. Next one, suggested post-money valuation. It is based on the last completed financing round or the current round. There, I think if you have in your tab 3, you have the company financing history. So there you could have several stages, and there could have been a valuation at several stages. So you would put it, you could put it the different figures for the different rows, and your current financing round there you also have a suggested post-money valuation. I don't know if this answered the questions. Otherwise, I would need to have maybe Stefan intervening on that one. Does that answer the question? I don't know who, if one of the 23 persons interested could give a sign.
No, it did not. It's about something that's in the table 3, in the table 4, sorry, that you have in the Excel, the last row in there under information item.
So suggested post-money valuation? Is it there? No. That is for your current financing round, right? In the table 4. And if you are not allowed to disclose the valuation as per the term of the investor negotiation, then I think you have to respect that. Huh?
No, I understand. I mean, yes, of course, if you are in the middle of your investor negotiation, you cannot possibly disclose what could be the post-money valuation. So you will have to put it in terms of the last financing round that you had actually completed.
Okay. So the year N is, well, for now it's 2023. So in the annex about mandatory data and consent,
Yes.
in the team sheet, why is the gender balance limited?
I can take this one. It's not limited. We are maintaining those 3 lines for the 3 main roles: CEO, CSO, CTO. All the rest can be added after the 3rd line, where there are no limitations of putting other key positions. So you can continue your team members there, putting their actual role, their actual position. And of course, not all 3 of them have to be filled in if there is not a CSO or a CTO. It will be left blank and you will continue after the 3rd line. I hope it's clear.
Okay, postponing the next cutoff date. To my understanding, there is no...
For Stefan, I don't know, Stefan, you would like to answer this one? He talks about a delay on the 4th October. I mean, normally, I don't think we need a delay for the next cutoff. What it is expected is that stage 1 platform will be online beginning of July. So the process will be back in about a month's time. So there is going to be enough time for the applicants to submit, receive the results, and even start a full proposal for the 4th of October.
Yeah, thank you, Andreas. No, I can confirm that currently there are no plans to delay the next cutoff date, and that we think that, of course, the step 1 platform will be in place in due time to allow for the completion of the step 2 operation in time. Now, of course, I mean, we are monitoring the situation in real time, and we may, of course, reflect on certain delays that may happen. But at this stage, we don't see any materializing. So that's where we stay on this planning.
You want to take this one, Andreas?
Sorry, where's the
50-page limit
with the rebuttal included or extra? Well, originally we said that a rebuttal should be included in the 50 pages. In the end, we decided to become a little bit more flexible. That doesn't mean that we need to increase it necessarily to 60, 70. Okay, so you can, I mean, add a couple of additional pages to include both the rebuttal, or as I said previously, to add a few more elements when it comes for a challenge-related application. So let's try to be as close as to the 50 pages page length as possible. Will the
Next one is also for you.
evaluators know the number of goes, no goes in previous evaluations? For the moment, no. The evaluators do not have access to the previous evaluation, and especially for goes and no goes. But I don't know how this helps, to be honest. Why is it so interesting, this one? We can discuss it a little bit further later, but let's move on to the next one. Well, I think this is also a recommendation. Yes, I guess that if you can keep up the same formatting rules, I mean, you're free to use another font. I guess that these recommendations are done just to keep consistency in the submission forms.
We have a repetition. I think we try to avoid repetition. So what is exactly the repetition? I think yeah. I would have to reopen the form to answer this one.
So I'm reading the question, Pierre, while you are opening. The new application template appears to be repetitive. For instance, example, I guess addressable market is required both in section 2, problem market opportunity, and section 4, market analysis. Is it necessary to repeat the same information in both sections, or can we choose to address it in just one of the two sections?
Yeah, I think the only reference to market in the value proposition is it the right time to bring it to the market? Because we tried to make that the market is really dealt in the section 4 and 5, and the section 3 really focus on what is the solution, what is the innovation. So you compare it to existing solution, okay, but we don't have duplication about the market as far as I can see. So maybe the author of the question can try to be more specific, because we don't see that there is a repetition. For the next question.
We saw in the new template for full proposal application, there is no need to state deliverables for investing tasks. Could you confirm this information?
I think there is no deliverable for investing task. I think we can confirm. If it's not the case, we will come back to you. We need to double check.
Yes, yeah, we have to take note of this. What is the difference between section 7 risks and the critical risks related to work packages?
I think in the section 7 is a bit more general. The critical risk related to the work package is the risk related to the implementation, whereas the section 7 could also be a risk related to the technology, the market, the competition, financial risk, more general, I would say.
There is one for the financial annex. With regard to the grayed out cells, are we to add no costs in past years or depreciation, taxes, cash flow grants on the inventory and assets balance sheet?
We ask less information for the past year, but if you prefer to have exactly the same information, nothing prevents you for putting the information in the gray cells and copy paste the formula from the cell starting from year N. We are just asking less details because we don't need all. We use this basically to do the calculation of the financial capacity that we have to do for the regulation.
Do I understand correctly that without a dedicated link, it is not possible to get to the submission site? Yes, indeed. Those links were included in the email that was sent to all the eligible applicants, namely the ones that were successful in step 1 within the last year, plus all the step 2 applicants that have already submitted in a full proposal, and they have at least a second chance to resubmit. Only by using these dedicated links. In the future, of course, we will be putting a system in place that will be responsible to manage and redirect the applicants according to their state. Newcomers for step 1, old applicants eligible for step 2 to step 2.
Can I just ask on that one? A previous CEO received the link, not the current CEO, and it is no longer able to access the portal or the new portal through that link. So we've been trying to ask through the normal channels, emails.
I know that we are very closely following all the requests in the support, and I think we have replied to all the requests by the applicants, providing wherever we had struggles by similar cases I just described, and we're providing the links to the new CEOs or to the drafter of the proposals.
Okay, I haven't been provided with that yet, and I am the CEO. So
have you requested? Have you requested?
I have, yes, absolutely.
In the support.
Yes.
Okay. Can I keep some notes and I will check?
Of course, absolutely.
Yeah, so we need to do that fast.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, I mean the cutoff of June it was our priority now, but for the cutoff of October, it's the same methodology.
Yeah, no, we had an open link in the old portal. We adjusted the application as a rebuttal, and then obviously the changes were made, and now we don't have access to the new portal. And obviously, yes, okay, we were given 2 weeks, but we're now at 1 week. So time is ticking.
Mm-hmm.
And these changes to templates at last minute is also quite challenging, of course, because you enter the information and then may miss out on some key information that's required of you. So yeah, time is it's not short to do these applications, as I'm sure you're well aware.
Yes,
thank you for this.
Sorry,
comment.
Yeah,
we'll look into this. I think Andreas has copied your name, and otherwise, please resend your email with your request to the support email address. So we'll come back to you on this quickly. Now, maybe just to go back to that's a different question, which is about the applications for the cutoff in October. Pierre?
But I think it's going to be the same methodology that we are going to send the the link to the people eligible, I guess, because
as I previously explained, we will very soon introduce a new page. So when the applicants will use the funding and tender portal, they will be redirected in a page where the system will take care of their redirection according to their state. The user plus the PIC. It's a combination that will redirect them to the corresponding environment, either step 1 or step 2.
Yeah, for the short proposal, we will continue with the videos with the same requirement.
Yes.
Is it a requirement for companies to make an SME self-assessment prior to submitting a proposal?
Well, this is part of the PIC registration, of the company registration. I think it is recommended, yes, to do an SME self-assessment to qualify as an SME, of course, since it is one of the requirements to submit for the SE Accelerator.
Yes, now we are asking to have a forecast in the balance sheet. It's also it's interesting for the evaluators to see if you have a major investment coming in, what's the amount at stake. Yeah, it's a requirement, the balance sheet.
In the note on page 5, it is stated we need to use the data management plan template available in the online manual. Is this requirement mandatory also for the project submission phase? Project implementation, where can we find this template? We could not find it in the online manual. The data management plan, I think it's available, not I think, it's available in the funding and tender portal. Let me check. I don't know how can we send this.
We need to clarify that following the meeting, Andreas.
Yes, I can find the link. I don't know, Robert, if we can put the link somewhere for the data management plan template.
No, we cannot put it here in the chat, but I suggest we update this in the FAQs.
Okay.
Now in the part A, the amount of investment is the equity. The amount of the grant is asked
Once
specifically.
you select the type of funding requested, the amount of investment is the grant. Again, administrative, once you select the type of funding requested, the amount of investment, grant the equity, or it is the equity. It is only the equity, since the grant will be explained in the budget table in the section 5, where the applicant is selecting which type of funding. In the case of blended, they will have to define the equity, the investment component. Applicants have reported to have received very long 400 pages or backup with several missing data. Would it be possible to send them the final generated PDF business plan instead? Well, you're right. Applicants have received sometimes several files that correspond to the different versions of draft or submitted proposals they had in the system. We only have spotted one case where it was really missing data. We would advise the applicants to open all provided documents, because I know that they have an ID, and of course the higher ID, someone would expect that it should be the latest update or the latest version of document. That sometimes it's not the case. Please open all your attachments to make sure that you have, and in the first page of each attachment you have the latest update in terms of data, I mean, where you can see which one, which version is really the latest one. We only had one case with very minor data missing. So again, we're very closely monitoring this in the support page.
Okay, the CVs of advisors, you have a few pages at the end of the template where you can upload anything you find important, if you believe it's important for the proposal. feel free to upload a CV
Yes.
or from your advisor, I would say.
This is for you. Yeah. Excluding numbers from the grade cells in the balance sheet past data means that the balance sheet doesn't balance. How should we address this?
No, because we take the total assets, the total equity, and the total liability, so the control accounts work normally. So the information we take off is the information with, of course, we have the inventory, we have the intangible assets, but we have the control of the balancing of the balance sheet by looking at the total assets, the liability, and the equity, and these balances. So on the document. The rationale for the formula 107 to 111. Yes, so these are the checks that are used for the financial capacity of companies in the research program. So normally when the SME is not financially viable, we are taking additional measure to ensure that we don't misspend public resources. But in our case, it's a bit specific because we are systematically investing in risky companies with the accelerator. So that means that most of our applicants will not consider it financially viable following this reasoning. Is just that we have to take an administrative step from the authorizing officer saying that he recognized that, and despite that, he agreed that we use public money for funding your
But the problem is
companies.
The problem is that the formulas are wrong. They always report error.
No, yes, you're right. It will be changed in the next version of the template. So now we had something to avoid showing divided by 0 in the template, but we have now we got rid of that, and there will be values in the cells.
Okay, because I just replaced and did the correct formula, but if you adjust, it's okay.
Thanks.
So we attended the interviews in March. When will we receive the results? Will we be able to? So we're planning to send a notification with the outcome of the interviews towards the end of the current week. So yeah, it's going to be a little marginal for the June cutoff. I'm not sure if you will be able to resubmit in 3-4 days. But okay, you're still eligible, of course, huh?
Because for these people, they would only receive the link to the platform when they got a result.
Normally they have received the links.
They have received.
Yes, normally they have received the links. Yes.
Okay.
What about other deadlines for EAC open long proposal submission? Previously, there were several deadlines to choose from, one of which was for now in system. We can see only one deadline, June. Well, the system only shows the next available cutoff, which is the 21st of June. Once we pass this deadline, the next one, 4th October, will appear automatically. But yes, so we have two cutoffs, two deadlines in front of us. The first one is on the 21st of June, second one, 4th of October, both valid. Regarding the full proposal, may its structure contain similar answers to the ones prepared for the older template. As for its extension, we would like to clarify if keeping its extension to 50 pages will be evaluated for good, for bad, or will not be taken into account for this cutoff. Similar answers to the ones prepared for the older template. Can you start?
Confess, I don't understand the question.
I can give it a try. And
Yeah.
And you can see whether you want to correct me. I think
Thank
this
you,
is,
Cornelis.
I mean, I think as Pierre explained, we have tried to keep the changes to a minimum and in principle to keep many of the old elements, but that doesn't obviate the need for applicants to really review the new applicants and see that the answer to this specific question makes sense. So you cannot copy paste necessarily an answer to a previous to something from the previous question into the new template. You need to make sure that that actually makes sense, that either the question is identical or that it is similar and that it still makes sense. So I think, unfortunately, in this very unfortunate situation, you need to really review what you want to put into your proposal. Regarding the page limit, I will also make a try, but again, everybody also listen carefully. I think in principle, this, I mean, we will not brief evaluators in the sense to say if they have more than 60 pages, that's bad and you need to score them lowly. Or similarly, if you stay below, this is poor. Evaluators will be briefed to see we recommended 50 pages. So see in that context whether the information that you have is complete and sufficient. So we should not punish somebody who reduces to 50 pages and maybe doesn't have all the detail that he would have if he has 150 pages, obviously. So this needs to be taken into account. And we shouldn't give much of extra benefit for people who have spent 100 pages to explain all the details, but then at the same time make it more difficult for evaluators to get through the entire proposal. So we will need to find a line here. The recommended line was 50 pages. You're not punished per se for putting much more or much less, but you will also not be rewarded for putting all the possible details that you can.
I think this new template gives an opportunity for the applicants to really tell a story, because it has a certain logic in say. So it's how much you can be punchy and convincing with the story that will make the difference. So yeah, we are sorry if you have to do an extra effort now for that. Yeah, but at least all are the same circumstances. Short and full proposal have changed.
Short proposals, i.e. pitch video and step 1 IRs will not be accessible to full proposal evaluators anymore. Should evaluation criteria be interpreted differently from now on? Are you going to organize training for evaluators? I think we should start from the last question. Yes, as previously said, we will organize a briefing for the evaluators to introduce, of course, all the changes. Now, concerning access to previous data, for the moment, we will manage to grant access to the video of step 1, and progressively we will try to incorporate in the new evaluation environment as much information of the previous proposals as possible. Probably not for the first round because it was very quick, our migration, but for the following one, we may be in position to provide even more information concerning the previous stages.
For the CV, yes, you could use the LinkedIn profile, but we have asked that you load one PDF file with all the CVs, just to facilitate the work of the evaluator, that they don't need to go on internet and look at CV one by one.
The last, oh, this is for you, I think.
Well, no, it's not possible to use the last version of the financial table, so we have this new format, and then we have to use the same for everybody.
Are we required?
No, you don't need to add a table of content in addition to what is there.
This was the budget, and this for you as well, Pierre. It appears that the SE annex for the financial information does not provide formulas in certain places. Also in the budget and investment tab, some cells take values from what looks like incorrect places. Will the Excel table be updated?
Yes, the Excel table will be
But
updated.
have we spotted those incorrect? value?
We still have a few. We still have a few things to correct. Yes.
So given that the grant only covers 70% of the budget for TRL lower than 8 work packages, what should be entered in table 3.1? All the work packages or only those financed exclusively by equity?
What do you call table 3.1? I don't understand the question. Sorry. Table 311 AA. I don't know what you mean.
Can I take the next one while you're checking, Pierre? Or
Yeah, I cannot check. I need to know. I need to have a reformulation of the question.
Is there a helpline phone number to deal with unresolved problems? We're still having great trouble with logging into the portal using the link from the email sent to an old CEO.
But this is Mark Tyrrell. We already
Yes, I have
that one.
kept a note, and we will try to resolve your issue. Don't worry for this, and of course, worst case, we will provide you a phone number to contact us. No worries. In administrative form 5, other questions, amount of investment should be only for grant or also equity if we pick blended option. This field is only for the equity. The grant amount is included in the budget table in section 3. So there it is purely for the investment component or the equity.
Yes, to the next question. No, we don't deal with a word template for short proposals. So there is the moratoria until early July. You will have to wait.
Do we need to prepare a separate document plan for dissemination exploitation, including communication activity was mentioned in the application template near the DMP information in the footnote? Pierre?
That we need to follow up. I don't know.
Cornelius, do we have a reply for this? If we need to prepare a separate document, plan for dissemination exploitation?
I also don't know. There was another question on the DMP, so I think you need to follow this up.
Okay, I will. Does not have, so question 5 does not have the option for equity investment only. How can eligible applicants request this option? For equity investment only, yes, you are right. We are planning to add it in for the next administrative form for the next cutoff. In the meantime, all those applicants that will request almost zero grant, I'm saying almost zero because actually you cannot put zero in the budget table. You have to put at least €2 in one of any cost category. That means that you are asking for equity only. We're in the middle of plugin process. SEP informed we passed. We haven't received the go formally from EIC. What do we have to do? We need an ID number for a short proposal to fill in the full proposal. How can we obtain it? Actually, and confirm if not, you should have received already the same email that we have sent to all the eligible applicants. If you are one of the selected fast track or plugin applicants, you should have received the link. So if you have the link, that means that you don't need anything else. I don't think you need, why do you need the short proposal
Andreas,
ID?
I think this is, if I understand this question correctly, they have not yet been formally selected as plugin. They're in the process. So that means they cannot apply at the moment. The only thing that they can do at the moment is to apply for a short proposal if they want. Otherwise, they need to wait until this process is finalized, and then they can apply for the next cutoff that is free for full proposals. So if it arrives tomorrow or before the 21st, then you can rush and still try to do this. Otherwise, you will have to wait for the October cutoff. That's how I understand this.
You definitely don't need an ID number from short proposal any longer. It used to be in the previous EIC platform.
Okay, for short proposal, you will still need a pitch deck as before.
If yes, same requirements.
And the short
It's,
application can be uploaded somewhere early July.
Short proposal early July. The question is if the pitch deck is still requested. I'm not sure about the new template. Yes. Okay. All right. Same requirements. Yes. What date can the short application be uploaded? It's going to be online beginning of July. Yes. So you will be ready to start your application. What is the new link for submitting step 2 applications in June? The link received by email redirects. Well, if you are one of the eligible applicants, you should have received the email that I projected at the beginning of my presentation with 8 links, 7 for challenges, 1 for the open. This is the link for the SEP submission platform. And you should have received this. Start submission does not bring you to SEP submission, but rather to the landing page where we are informing you about the disruption of the services. Soon, of course, it will change. Can you make the full proposal submission system publicly accessible so that applicants can start working on their application while waiting for step 1 results? Most applicants are not knowledgeable about the latest version of the proposal template, finance, Excel table, and other requirements. So I guess you are talking about the applicants that had submitted step 1 and haven't received the outcome of their step 1 evaluation. Okay, I'm keeping a note. We can send a link to these applicants. Step 1. Okay. Can we, oh, sorry. Is it possible to retrieve step 1 proposals already sent? What do you mean by this? I don't understand exactly. Is it possible to retrieve step 1 proposals already submitted, I guess you mean? They will soon be accessible by the applicants when the new platform will be in place. All step 1 proposals will be again accessible. All the past content will be accessible by the applicants in a couple of weeks. Can we move to the next one? So there was no option in the type. Sorry,
it's an investment only thing.
I lost
For
it.
the investment only,
There is no equity only, exactly. So you have to select blended finance, and as I previously explained, you need to put €2 in the budget table in any of the cost categories.
Okay, thank you very much, Andreas and Pierre, for all these questions, and with compliments also from Stefan and Cornelius. Thank you to all the participants to this training. As mentioned, we will put this recording on the EIC website. It will be there very soon uploaded. And all the questions we have not managed to go through. We will look at them, group them, and we will update our frequently asked questions on the EIC website together with the information that was further shared today. So we aim to have this ready by Wednesday morning, uploaded the renewed FAQs on the EIC website. With that, I will close this session. Thank you very much for participating, for your questions. And of course, we thank you very much for your understanding in this this difficult situation for many of you, and we thank you for your efforts in changing to the SEP platform. We hope that the information that we're providing will help you as much as possible, and of course, wish you all the best of luck with this. Thank you very much again for your participation today. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.